Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an article titled Infidelity Statistics That Will Baffle You. And a big shout out to Mark for sending me this article. And guys, this whole article is really going to go into some eye-opening statistics about infidelity in marriages. Not just from women, but also from men. It goes both ways here, let's be fair. And it's really going to break down a lot of reasons why, in the view of this author and the research that the author has done, why is it that men step out, why they cheat, why women cheat, the different types of cheating going on, whether it be emotional affairs or physical affairs, all sorts of things like that, the signs to look out for. And the author really gets into a lot of things that definitely I agree with, but the author also leaves a lot of things out, which I'll definitely add in as I go through the article. And I gotta say this, guys, there was a time and place that people didn't live very long. So they got married young and they're probably in their 20s, and they didn't live very long. And they stay together their whole lives, blah, blah, blah. But nowadays, you got people living way longer, 80s, 90s, 100s in some cases. And you hear these stories of these couples that have married together for like 70 years or 60 years or something crazy like that. And, a lot of them don't look very happy. Okay, now granted, they're old. They probably don't know what the hell's going on. They probably forgot what they had for breakfast. But my point is, a lot of them don't look too happy. And I see in today's world how a lot of couples, unfortunately, just aren't happy. They've been together for 10 years. Imagine them like that in decades to come after 50 years of that. And so you can get people that get together early on. They actually have, say, a good thing going, a lot in common, good values, all that, because it does exist. It's rare, but it exists. But after a few decades, the person who they are is the same, but their values have changed, their interests have changed, what they want out of life has changed, their politics have changed, stuff like that. And you got two people that were great once, but they don't fit anymore, okay? They got nothing to say to each other. They're not very happy. They're not in love. They're certainly not having sex. And the question is, why are they still together? Well, a lot do it because of the kids, or maybe eventually the grandkids, or they don't want to upset the family, or they're standing in the community, or at the church, or whatever. And I just don't see that as a good way to go. I mean, people obviously may disagree with me, that's fine, but I just don't see that as a good way to go. And so it's any wonder after a few decades of being unhappy, people step out. Instead of ending it, which they should, they step out. So anyhow, guys, but that's just one of the many reasons why I see in today's world, I just don't see the benefits of getting married unless you got yourself, for instance, this is a men's channel, unless you got yourself a really good girl with some old-fashioned values and she's loyal, has all these good qualities, because they do exist, guys. I mean, not every woman is the devil. Unfortunately, in today's world, a lot of the high group of women in the 20s and 30s aren't exactly saints, but there are some that are good women, okay? They do exist, so if you got one of those, good for you. But the rest, knowing things as I do, and how things are in today's world, in the family courts against guys, and things are the deck is stacked against us, it's not advisable, in my opinion. And this article is definitely going to open some eyes as to why, once again, proving why I have the opinion that I do. So anyhow, guys, without further ado, I'm going to jump into it. Starts off saying, fact: the number one cause of divorce is infidelity. But infidelity doesn't just happen. Nobody cheats on their spouses from the get-go. Okay, maybe some do. Yeah, I was about to say bullshit. Some do right from the beginning. They've been cheaters their whole lives and they continue on. It's really sad, but it happens. How do I know? How many stories have I done when that type of thing has happened? But those people don't deserve to be married in the first place. To understand more about why people end up divorcing because of infidelity, we need to understand the cheating itself. Here are a few interesting infidelity statistics you should know. 55% of men and 50% of women surveyed by Trustify admit to cheating. That is an interesting number for several reasons. Number one, women cheat almost as much as men. Number two, that figure is very close to divorce rates. And number three, that is 1 out of 2 people. Yeah. So basically, you can look around and half the marriages out there statistically, well, more than half technically, because right now, the number in the West, and when I say the West, I mean like in the United States, it's like a 60% divorce rate. And during the whole time of COVID and the lockdown and couples driving each other crazy, divorce filings were skyrocketing. I'm not sure how they are in this present moment in March 2021, but I'm sure they're still up there. So it's very high. And so you go to a wedding nowadays, guys. I don't like going to weddings for obvious reasons, but when you go to a wedding, And there's a 60% chance it's not going to work. And you see here that there's a 55% chance that one of them is going to cheat. It's pretty sad. It says here, 50 to 55% means that half of the relationships were damaged by infidelity at one point or another. That is some insane infidelity statistics. If you look at it this way, think about 2 married couples one of those 4 people, out of those 4 people, at least one of them is cheating with their spouse. If that is an interesting infidelity statistic, I don't know what is. Yeah, so like you get a pair of two couples, statistically one's cheating on the other. It's pretty sad. According to the same survey, most marriages continue after the affair. 40% of women are not in good terms with their spouses, and 60% of men say they are on good terms. Let's break that down. Couples don't divorce right away. That's number 1, couples don't divorce right away. Number 2, 40% of wives are not in good terms with their husband. 40% of their wives are not in good terms with their husband is the same as the next statistic that 60% of men are in good terms with their wives. Taken as a whole, only 40% of couples are not on good terms with each other. That's pretty sad. Imagine that growing up in that. Imagine being a kid growing up in that household. This is why a lot of kids that grow up in households where the parents are unhappy and don't love each other and there's a lot of turmoil, they themselves one day end up in relationships or marriages just like that because that's what they're used to. Like, well, my mom and dad weren't happy, so that's just how it is, And it's just not true. We can derive from those figures how many marriages survive infidelity. Statistics show that around 50 to 60% of couples eventually overcome cheating. A lot of wives would ask, can a cheating man change and be faithful? According to this, more than half of them do. But it's also not fair to just associate cheating with men. According to figures on top, women are just as likely to cheat as men. Well, from all the stories I've done, guys, in the last year, stories, articles, personal stories I get from you guys, we certainly know that is true. And it's sad, but you got to keep your eyes open. You got to pay attention to all the red flags. And yes, men do it obviously just as much as well. According to a Truth About Deception survey, as more women enter the workforce and become financially independent and also spend a lot of time interacting with other people in the office, it is the reason why there's an increase. Is this a reason why there's an increase of women cheating? Well, I've done a lot of interesting articles, guys, and stories where the woman is the breadwinner. She's working while the guy is home with the kids because the kids are obviously too small to go to school as of yet. And what happens is a lot of times he's taken on the traditional role of the woman, and she's taken on the traditional role as the man, being the provider, bringing home the money, the bacon, if you will. And eventually he starts resenting both himself and her because he's in the traditional feminine role. He's not as feeling as masculine. She's also in the more masculine role. He's not attracted to her because her actions and her traits are more masculine, which will turn him off. She is in her masculine, which she doesn't want to be, which turns her off. He's acting in his feminine, which turns her off because she wants a guy that's a masculine guy. Unless, of course, from the get-go, he was very feminine, she was very masculine. And eventually, a lot of fighting happens, a lot of turmoil, and then eventually cheating happens. Or a situation where the woman makes more money than the guy, and I mean like a decent amount more than the guy. Sometimes she starts to, in these stories I've gone over, starts to lose respect for him and don't think that he's at her level. And then obviously there's resentment and cheating goes on there too. So it's very interesting. If infidelity is as rampant as we are led to believe from those statistics, why do they do it? Are they unhappy with their marriage? Does a happy man cheat? Or a happy woman for that matter? Apparently they do. There are cases of happily married people cheating on their spouses. But most cases of infidelity is not about a rational choice. It is a combination of many factors, including emotional disconnect with their spouse. The more factors involved, the more likely someone will cheat. Adults involved in infidelity know they are cheating on their spouses and surprised by their own behavior. Eventually, they experience a change of heart, and a lot of them end their affair quietly and remain undiscovered. So, they're talking about here that even if the marriages apparently seem good, now everybody, that's a subjective term. Everybody, their view on what is good and not good could be different. But this kind of goes into the fact that you have a couple together so long that Nothing's new. They know everything about the other person. They've grown apart, so to speak. And even though they obviously care about them deeply for a lot of reasons, the attraction is almost gone or gone completely. And sometimes they just want to feel obviously loved or appreciated or feel attractive again, because obviously it's been so long since they were single. And somebody steps out, and it goes both ways. It's unfortunate. Now we're going to go into a few psychological facts about cheating. According to Psychology Today, there are two kinds of cheating. One is purely sexual, and the other has strong emotional connections. Men are most likely to commit the first type, while women are more inclined to do the second. Research also shows that the partner with a higher education, social standing, and income is more likely to cheat than the other. It applies regardless of gender. People with higher social standings are more likely to cheat and risk their primary relationship if there is a disparity between them and their partners. This is the reason why does a happy man cheat, or even a woman for that matter. As for the rest, it is merely to compensate on what is lacking in their relationship. Both genders admit that they are sexually and emotionally satisfied with their extramarital affairs. Eventually, everything taken together is a big issue. If most extramarital affairs remain undiscovered, and even happily married couples experience it, how does one protect their marriage from infidelity? Well, you really can't. I mean, seriously, at the end of the day, are you going to watch her 24/7? Are you going to monitor everything she does 24/7? Or is she going to watch the guy 24/7 or monitor everything he does? How's that going to go? Right? At the end of the day, there's nothing you can do. The only thing you really can do, and this is my opinion before I actually read what they're going to say, is basically if you're going to do it, if you're going to get married, obviously you do your homework on who you're marrying. Obviously spend a lot of years with them to see what they're like, in all situations. Are they a good communicator? Are they smart with money? Are they loyal? All these things. But even then, you don't quite 100% know. You get your prenups. In some cases, you may even get a PI investigating the other one. Who the hell knows? But you do your homework and you get hitched. At that point, then, in my opinion, you got to keep dating each other. You got to keep having fun. You got to keep taking care of yourselves. So if beforehand you worked out at the gym and you were in good shape and healthy, you keep doing that. You still go out on dates. You still have fun with each other. You're still good communicators. Active sex life, stuff like that. That's about all you can do. But at the end of the day, you can't control everything. So the answer to the guy's question about how does one protect their marriage from infidelity, he says, you don't. Well, there you go. You don't. That's why trust is a big factor in any relationship. Entertaining suspicions of infidelity will only lead to emotional stress, which could lead to real infidelity. In other words, self-fulfilling prophecies. If you are really curious, here are warning signs of cheating. Number 1, they are always busy at work. Number 2, too many extra workload and duties. Number 3, they are oversensitive when you ask questions. Number 4, unexplained or suspicious spending. Number 5, the need for privacy to talk to someone else. Well, I'm going to disagree with the whole they're always busy at work and too much of an extra workload. If you got somebody, man or woman, that's on their purpose, particularly a guy, just because the guy is dedicating so much of his time to his business or his company that he works for or other things he's doing to improve himself, that doesn't mean the guy's cheating. It's just he's very dedicated, spending his extra time when normally he might be, normally most guys would be sitting on their ass watching sports or TV or movies. He's actually doing something. So that's, I wouldn't just take that to heart that is exactly just because somebody's busy that means they're cheating. I disagree with that. Or they have an extra workload or duties. If somebody is, for instance, a very busy attorney, lawyers are generally very busy people because they got to make those billable hours, and they're obviously trying to get more than what the law firm wants in terms of billable hours to become a partner or obviously make the kind of money they want to. They're busy, or doctors or anybody that owns a business. So. But a few things here they left out I'm going to add is one of the classic ones is if the person is always on their phone, but always guarding their phone. Okay, that's a big one. Or if, for instance, say it's a woman, she's always doing all these girls' nights out. Okay, and you're never invited. Okay, and you don't know what's going on, or something these girls' trips. Okay, or if all of a sudden there's no sex going on at all. When before there was. Just things like that. Those are clear-cut signs. According to infidelity statistics from this blog here are a few more. The person with a higher social standing, obviously somebody that higher education, makes more money, higher position in their companies. They appear less sensitive. They spend less time with the family. Awkward situations during social events, and more secretive in handling their business affairs. Well, again, that's the opinion of this writer, but again, if they are less time with the family, well, again, they're busy on their purpose, with their career. So doesn't mean that's just because they're very busy at their work, they're cheating, okay? In some cases it might, but still. Or secretive handling of their business affairs. Well, some people could just be very private, but you got to pay attention to things. Based on the information from the survey, cheating partners are not concerned about jeopardizing their relationship. However, that doesn't mean they are not careful about their infidelity to prevent nasty rumors that could ruin their reputation. According to the gathered infidelity statistics, men are likely to cheat for sexual gratification. Here are potential warning signs. Number 1, not in the mood for sex with the spouse. What I tell you. Number 2, abrupt changes in schedules. Like all of a sudden he's not around when before he was around all the time. Number 3, unexpected spending. Number 4, baths more often than normal. I guess that means more showering to obviously wash off the scent of the woman, so to speak. Number 5, frequent weekend emergencies. Cheating men that are after sexual gratification still care about their partner and family. They will do what they can to cover their tracks. From the same infidelity statistics, we can derive different warning signals from women who are looking for more emotional satisfaction. Yeah, well, guess what? Women like the physical just as much. Come on here. And men like the emotional part too. Don't get, let's not rule that out either. With regards to the woman, it says here, number 1, always talking with their girlfriends. Probably meaning like always on the phone, texting away. Number 2, inaccessible social media accounts and phone. That's a big one I left out, that's the social media. If the guy can't get onto her social media, or as it turns out, he doesn't know she has like Instagram and all these other things to get attention, that's a sign. Number 3, spends less time talking with their spouse. In other words, they become more and more distant. Number 4, does not disclose or not discuss their activities outside the house, being very secretive. And of course, they didn't mention again the lots and lots of girls' nights away, or the girls' vacations away, and you're not invited, and of course, lack of sex. Women who found emotional satisfaction with someone else will develop stronger bonds with a third party. They will feel guilty about their activities, and as such, avoid confronting their spouse. It will exasperate the situation by widening the emotional rift between the couple. The infidelity statistics here are compiled from a few sources. We can rationalize from the latest data that infidelity is and has always been a problem between committed partners. There are a lot of reasons why it happens, and it occurs across all demographics. Yeah, this isn't just like here in America and people that are a certain class. This is across the board. It doesn't make a difference where you live, what your religion is, where you are on the socioeconomic scale, all those different things. It happens. Like car accidents, there's no way to protect yourself from it when it happens. The best a driver can do is to reduce the risk as much as possible. The same can be said about cheating and infidelity statistics. There is no 100% guarantee, but reducing the factors can diminish the risk. So there you go. That is one survey that's done. That's the author's research on these things. And it's definitely eye-opening in terms of those numbers and things like that. But like I said, I mean, you get two people that married for a very, very long time, and they have once had a good thing going, and they were obviously clicked very well. But over the decades, they both changed. Their values have changed. Their interests have changed. What they want out of life has changed. Their political views have changed. People can eventually just grow apart. It happens. And eventually they stay together because obviously for the kids, the family, whatever. Or they really do care about each other in the sense like they love each other, but there's just there's no spark, so to speak. They're not in love with each other. This type of things happen. It is unfortunate. But in my opinion, in situations like that, when it's gotten to be that part where there's nothing left, in my opinion, it's better just to part ways. Okay, that way there's no cheating going on, and nobody gets hurt or anything like that. But they can then part ways, hopefully amicably, and they have the opportunity to be fulfilled the second time around. I'm not saying go get married again, but I'm just saying with other partners, so to speak. But again, as more people live longer and longer, and they're in these marriages longer and longer, at the end of the day, we got one shot at life. So why be unhappy? Because I'm sure, guys, you look around. to the different people you know, friends, family, people you knew growing up, other couples. Just go out anywhere. You look around, most people that are married are not happy. They really are not. And they're just in it for the kids, or they feel like they have no other options or something like that. I mean, it's really unfortunate. Now, like I said in the beginning, there are certain exceptions. There are some couples that actually have been together for a long time, and they got a good thing going. It doesn't mean they haven't had their share of problems. Okay, everybody has problems, but they actually got a good thing going, and there's some old-fashioned values there. And if that's the situation, and they actually still do care about each other, and there's no cheating going on, I say that's great. I mean, that'd be a great place to be that anybody would want. But it's rare, unfortunately. So if you're young and you're watching this, like I said so many times in the videos, just be careful. Really, really take your time. If you're with that girl that's your girlfriend and you think she's great and you want to marry her and all that, take your time. Be with her for many, many years, understanding who she really is. When there's ever any conflict in her life, how does she handle that? Does she blow up at you and take out her problems on you? Or does she handle it in a mature manner? Is she a good communicator? Is she someone that's smart with money? If you're a saver and she spends every dime she has, or before even she has the money, she spends it racking up the credit cards, that's not going to be a good match. These are things that you pick up and learn by being with someone for several years. But if that girl has all these good traits and whatever, then if you must, and because of religion or your own personal values, you want to get married, then maybe after many years of being with her and seeing what she's like in all these different scenarios, then you might want to think about it. But even then, really think about it, do your homework, get the prenups, even a PI, God forbid, and how things are in today's world, and go from there. But again, I wouldn't advise it, but I'm just saying if you want to do it, then go ahead. But just remember, do your homework. But anyhow, guys, I've gone on long enough here. I'm rambling at this point. But anyhow, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know about these statistics. Let me know if you can think of other things to add to this that I haven't mentioned or the article hasn't mentioned either. It'll be a big help because most guys read the comments and it does help them. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.